Hi, my name is Eric. Together with my team, we supply tractors, high-quality inputs and feeds for the Kenyan dairy farmer. And this is my story. My journey in agriculture began 2014 in Kenya, when I came to Kenya from Luxembourg as an intern for SNV, Netherlands Development Organization. I was given an assignment to do records on dairy farms, and that's how I got acquainted with Kenyan dairy farmers, especially in the region of Eldoret, but also Central, Meru, up to Nakuru. And when I came in and I started working for SNV, my contract was ending after 1.5 years. I decided to find something to stay in Kenya because I was already almost married, so I had to stay here. And where I saw big opportunities was machinery. People told me they pay a lot of money for machines. So when I analyzed the machinery prices in Europe and in Kenya, I did a quick mathematics. I decided, and machinery is also my passion, then I decided to give it a try. I started importing the 2 containers with farm machines, which obviously took some time to sell before people got used to what I'm doing. But already shortly after, people actually the farmers started knowing me, trusting me, and of course that's how it built. I sold a few machines, I bought a few others, but mainly when I started it was all about machines. And I started a bit with simple machines, also not to take too much risk. Later I started also importing the dairy equipment, milking machines, cooling tanks, because many people asked me for it because they needed quality. It never took up as well as the machines, but even as we speak, we are still serving quite some customers on dairy equipment. And also, what I also very soon realized, a machine is an investment for a farmer. And when the economy goes a bit down, let's say 2017 elections, people are not investing. Actually, that time I had to take quite some loans just to pay salaries. Now, I immediately decided to have a regular income. Part of my regular income was actually already silage. We brought the silage machines to Kenya. They were not so taken up well, so we decided to use them ourselves to show farmers how to do it, and they liked actually us using them than them using them because they are bigger machines. So part of the regular income was already silage sales, so we call it fodder sales. But on top of that, I created a shop where people walk in, walk out, and it's called the one-stop shop for the dairy farmer. So you need a brush for a milking parlor, you need minerals, you need dairy meal, you need milk replacers. If you need a shovel, a broom, an overall, you can buy it from our one-stop shop. And that created actually kind of a regular income for the company, which is important because paying 22 salaries every month, you need regular income. The machines obviously also help, but with machines you are taking quite a risk. If the economy goes a bit down, you might lose complete turnover for a whole month. If you don't sell for 1 month, complete turnover goes, leave alone the profit. Starting my business in Kenya as an agri-preneur, I thought it would be the same as doing business in Europe, only realizing that actually everything is different. From the culture of the customers, selling a machine would not take 1 meeting but 4 meetings, up to actually the procedures of the government, because first of all they were not clear to me, But I also realized later that it is in the interest of some brokers and agents that they are not clear to me, so that they would make a business out of me starting a business. Of course, later I realized, but in the beginning it was a bit demotivating, say staying 3 days in a queue for getting a business permit, which would take 10 minutes. But after all, I think the procedures are now very clear to me, and what I'm happy about is that they are actually more or less the same as in Europe. Talk about VAT, filing returns, it is actually very clear. KRA is actually the only place where I got a Merry Christmas in Kenya from a KRA. In Europe we would never get a Merry Christmas card from KRA. But the procedures are actually, after knowing them, are very clear, but in the beginning the information wasn't accessible so easily. And I think that's what bothered me mostly as an entrepreneur, especially coming from Europe, where we always want everything to be so organized and clean. And here it was, in the beginning, a bit of a mess to me. In the meantime, I've really learned to do business in Kenya, so I am ready. I'm ready to meet people for a longer time. I am also ready to start a process early enough so that I don't delay on the approval or the permit. So I think at the moment, what is actually still of a hurdle to me is a lot in logistics. Kenya is really improving in logistics, but it's also really necessary. Say bringing a container from Mombasa to here or from Nairobi, the cost of it, but the organization around it, and also let's talk about the silage. Bringing it all for 400 kilometers in Kenya is a day for a truck. In Europe is half a day for a truck. So logistics is still a hurdle to an entrepreneur in Kenya, but I think we are all in the same environment. So all competitors are struggling with the same, but it will make things lots easier in the future and cheaper for farmers. Having worked with Kenyan dairy farmers, I see a transition in the dairy farming. It was a prestigious thing to do some years back, and now it's becoming more as a business. So the dairy farmers are looking at machines and feeds in a different way than they used to. Actually, when I relate that to my company, it's not that we offer different services and inputs, we market them in a different way. I can give actually an example about silage. When it was innovative to plant silage, I would come to a few farms where the head of the family, the father, the mzee, would not like silage to be planted because it's also a food in Kenya. Now people are realizing that if I want to milk 20 liters from one cow, I need a high input, high output. So the hay can't provide the quality, dairy meal is expensive. At the end of the day, what remains is silage. So it is much easier now for a Kenyan farmer to adapt to silage than some years back. Yeah, and it's actually also coming back more to the basics, because when I came here, I was always wondering, why do we talk about fancy machines and what? And sometimes the cows don't even have enough to eat until in a dry season, a farmer would lose a few cows. I was really trying to go back to the basics, and now I'm happy that farmers are getting along with me back to the basics, which is feeds and fodder. Actually, dairy farming is always about the 3 F's. Feeds, and again feeds. Because that's the only way you succeed. A cow which has eaten well will not get easily sick. She will be very fertile. She'll not use a lot of medications. So a healthy cow is a well-fed cow. And that's the basics where we are going back to now in Kenya, and I'm happy about that. The challenges currently in the Kenyan dairy sector are a few. Number one is, I think, price. An entrepreneur needs a bit of a cash flow to be making decisions, even strategic decisions and long-term decisions. That's number two, actually, because dairy farming is a long-term business, and I think many people don't realize that. Okay, many also realize, but there's still a concept that you think, I'll pay back this in 3, 4, 5 years if you take a loan. And I think that's at the moment also a challenge, because you need a capital to start a long-term business, because it pays back slowly by slowly, meaning you need quite a starting capital. So another challenge is there's not yet enough awareness about the need of quality feeds. Of course, if the need of quality feeds is known, then suppliers like Agri-assist can also supply the quality feeds. At the moment, the demand is also still low because of that less awareness, actually. Going forward, I see that the Kenyan dairy farming landscape will be shaped by the mid-scale farmers mostly, a few large-scale farmers, but mostly mid-scale farmers. So I think as a company, as Agri-assist, we want to supply the mid-scale farmers. And of course, the shop, I really see that high-quality inputs are needed to produce the quantity and the quality of milk that is needed also. So I really expect our shop to grow with more inputs, and mostly talking about high-quality inputs. That is feeds, but also tools. So that was my story, serving dairy farmers. I'm curious to know about your story. Share it.